Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter, Nick Geber. How's that for a shocker for you? Nickgeber. Happy January 20th, 2020. It is Martin Luther King Day, and also, I might add, National Cheese Lovers Day. What better holidays to combine? We could make a lovely cheese plate part of our Martin Luther King annual celebrations. I think that is a pairing made in heaven. Okay, we've got some great games we're going to get to today. We're going to talk a little college basketball with Sean Higgs. We're going to talk NBA Monday with Tony T. Listen, we are one of the very few completely nationally syndicated sports betting shows that gives you this many free picks. So whether you're listening in Clam Gulch, Alaska, or Bald Knob, Arkansas, or even Hard Up, Georgia, well, we're your source for the best free picks out there. Find us at picksandparlays.net. Lots of free picks, and of course 35 expert handicappers all standing by. If you want to pick up their expert picks, we do have a special offer for you. Get 15% off. Promo code TIE, T-I-E. So where are you, Dick Chute, Idaho, or Beaver City, Nebraska, or even Havoc? Where are you, Climax, North Carolina? Come on, get on board right now. 15% off. picksandparlays.net. Promo code TIE, T-I-E. And by the way, this show every day, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also going out to the American Forces Network. Big hello to our men and women in uniform around the world. And immediately following the show, our podcast is available on the Believe Podcast Network. If you've missed any part of it, don't worry. At the end of the show, we will recap all of our free picks for you. So once again, coming up, we got college basketball with Higgy Pop. That's right, Sean Higgs. And some NBA Monday for you. Lots of NBA games, free picks from star handicapper, Comandante El Tigre, Tony the Tiger Tellez himself. All right, I'm going to step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back to kick it off here at Picks and Parlays. Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm Nick Geber. Twitter me, twatter me. Reach out and flatter me. Flattery gets you everywhere. You know that, right? You can see it right there. Twitter, at Nick Geber, Nickgeber. Welcome back. Promised you some college basketball, so let's bring in star handicapper himself, the man no longer with the Stooges, Higgy Pop himself, Sean Higgs. Hey, how's it going, Higgs?
Nothing. Those are some great states. I got to go visit those cities across the country. That probably took more time to find out than who's going to win some of these basketball games today.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Higgy, because, we like to appeal to everyone across the country, whether you're in Dick Chute, Idaho, or even Beaver City, Nebraska. It's entirely up to you. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? We're going to start in the Big 12 with Oklahoma at Baylor. Oklahoma Sooners 12-5, 6-10-1 against the spread. They're third in the Big 12, by the way, 6-4 in the last 10. Win over TCU, slapped a 2-game losing streak. They're 2-2 straight up, 1-3 against the spread away from home, 3-2 in conference play. They've gone under in 4 of the last 5 total-wise. And the Baylor Bears, 15-1. What a record that is, 11-5 against the spread. They're first in the Big 12. They're 10-0. Coming off a 75-68 win over Oklahoma State. 8-0 straight up, 4-4 against the spread at home. 5-0, perfect in conference. And sometimes you look, Higgy, at these records, and, it could be 15-1, but they play some real easy, soft, out-of-conference teams. But they are 5-0 in the Big 12, which is not that easy of a conference to play in. And they are 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 games, and under in the last 5. Big home favorites at 10 points, total 136.5. You got to like Baylor for this one, though, Higgy.
You mentioned their schedule there and their record, and we've said it before. Like sometimes you guys come in here, it's like, oh, they're 15-1 or 12-0, whatever case. These guys have beaten Texas Tech, Arizona, Butler, Kansas. No letdown in sight. They beat Arizona and Butler. Then you figure, all right, maybe they have a little hiccup, slow down. I mean, okay, Tennessee Martin, they still win by almost 30 points. They beat Kansas and Texas Tech on the road. They come home, still take care of business, win them by 13. These guys look pretty good. Defense is solid, 58 points a game. The 10, it's actually, I saw 11 when this first popped open, dropped down to 10. I don't know. I'm going to actually lean a little bit towards the over here, believe it or not,
Yeah.
even though it's a defensive team. I see the 136. I think this can play into the 140-ish range. The 10's a little tricky. I like Baylor, but I don't know. They haven't really, not that they haven't been tested, but Oklahoma's going to maybe come in, shoot the ball. They got nothing to lose playing with the house money. They're double digits. Maybe I lean towards the dog, but more importantly, I'm going to look at the over here in this game. I see this playing out like the 145 range, believe it or not. I think it's going to be like an 80 to like a 70 type game, somewhere in there, 76, 70, a little more high scoring than even though we got a team that gives up 58
75-68 against Oklahoma State, which nowhere near as good as the Sooners. So I think that's a great analysis, Higgy. I still like Baylor to win this game. But I think this total's a little low. These are two really good basketball teams in an excellent basketball conference, duking it out. So I'm with you. What's that?
Yeah, they both score pretty good. Like shooting around 44% or whatever from the field. And defenses they always 58 points a game is really good. No matter what team's putting up that. Either you're just playing at a snail's pace and nobody's moving the ball on you, or you're just playing that good defense. But you're putting up 70-something points a game, 73 points a game, and giving up 58.
Yeah,
that shows me you're pretty good on both sides of the ball. But again, I think this is going to be a push 'em kind of game here, up and down the court. So over is going to be the play here for the show.
All right, I like it. Good choice. And by the way, should be a good game to watch too, if you want to see some good college basketball.
Come on, they're what, the number 2 team in the country?
Yeah, I believe they are right now, right? Baylor, number 2, right? Yeah.
Wide open, though, I think that year. It's wide open is college, the way these teams have been playing at the top.
Well, let's go stay in the Big 12, shall we? And we're going to go down the standings just a little bit for this next game. Two teams not nearly as good, but still decent. Let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. They're currently 7th. They are 12-5 overall, 6-11 against the spread. They're 6-4 in the last 10, coming off a loss to Kansas. They're 2-2 straight up and against the spread on the road. They're 2-3 in conference. Jericho Sims, a doubt for this game. They've gone under in 4 of the last 5. And the Mountaineers, a good record, 14-3, 10-7 against the spread. They find themselves 6th in the Big 12, partly because they've already lost 2 games in conference, which didn't help. We talk about that kind of easier pre-conference schedule. You get to ride it hard once the conference starts. They're 7-3 in the last 10, losing last outing to Kansas State. 8-0 straight up, 5-3 against the spread at home. The total's gone under in 8 of the last 10 for the Longhorns. So we've got under, for the Mountaineers, and both the Mountaineers and the Longhorns, by the way. So they would both be 8 out of 10. I guess 4 of the last 5 would be 8 out of 10, right? So we've got a total of 128. Are we thinking under on this one? And the Mountaineers home favorites by almost 10 points. I got 9 on this one.
Yep, I'm seeing 9 to 128 here, and this is an interesting game here. We got West Virginia, they waxed TCU, they beat them by 32, and then come back and just get housed by Kansas State before putting up a little bit of fight. But now they're coming home a good year, 14-3. Last year they were terrible, and Texas got them twice, so it's like a little revenge game for them. I think Texas is down. I mean, what happened to this program? I mean, even between football and basketball, these guys are second fiddle to some of the smaller schools in their own state. So I'm going to go, it's 9's big, but this is I think West Virginia needs this game. Again, you lose to the Kansas State team who, I really don't think that good a team. I think West Virginia is actually a pretty good team. I like Huggy Bear as a coach. Huggins, I think he does a good job here. The 9 looks about right. We'll go West Virginia here minus the 9. I'll do it. And total-wise, believe it or not, I'm thinking over. I think this is going to be, again, we got teams that can't shoot free throws. So it's a lot of, if we got dead time, no time's coming off the clock, we still got time for maybe 1 or 2 points, some free points on the line. Again, I'm going to look at West Virginia minus the 9, and I'll say over here, believe it or not. I think, what do I got? My numbers bring this up to like the 140 range, believe it or not. It's 128. So either I'm totally off by 10 points or, this number's off. We'll find out in a couple hours.
All right. Next up, NC State at Virginia. What do you got for this one, Higgy?
Well, again, this one, Virginia was 2.5 first up, and then jumps to 4. Now, I see 2.5, and I'm all over NC State because, I mean, what Virginia told a fall from grace, your national champs. Now you look like the team that lost to a 16 seed this year. I'm still going to be actually taking NC State here. This Virginia team has not impressed all year. They've struggled. I get its defense. Some of these games, the total's already come down 2.5 points from 119.5 to 117. But give me NC State. These guys could score a little bit. Last year, an OT win for Virginia, which means NC State's battling. and it's obvious Virginia's just not shooting the ball good. Last year, 35-3. I mean, what are they? 12-5 already this year. They're not the same team, even though they got a lot of same players. Something's just not clicking right. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like North Carolina. You keep wanting to lay these points with a team, and they're just not the same team. They're just not the same team. Let's take the dog here. Maybe sprinkle some money line here.
All right, so we're going to take the dog on NC State, Virginia.
Yeah.
Finally, your thought. We just got literally 2 minutes. The Super Bowl
How about
matchup.
Virginia? 26% Virginia shooting from the field from 3-point. That's crazy. Crazy how good they were. Sorry, I'm just look at the numbers. It's just shocking how they've fallen.
You all right now?
I'm calm
down. You're getting excited about that. So I just want to make sure the blood pressure didn't go too high or anything. Okay. All right. Quickly.
And I'm a big guy. I might fall over.
But you could probably get up. Okay. Our thoughts very quickly about the Super Bowl matchup. It's a West Coast. It's a big West Coast clash, I guess. It's well, not I guess it is. It's Kansas City 49ers. Give me a minute on this. I mean, we did say that the Packers were going to find out what playing a real team in the postseason looked like, and they did get there.
I had the Packers today. I had Kansas City also. I figured the Packers wanted a little payback, and they just didn't show up again for the first half. And as much as everybody loves Aaron Rodgers, this guy, I mean, people were saying, how is he not one of the top 100 quarterbacks?
I'm sorry,
he's
who?
Exactly. The guy's horrible in championship games. What has he got, like 6-7 interceptions, 4 touchdowns? I mean, just not good numbers showing up when you have to. This Niner team, listen, I thought maybe we'd get Minnesota or New Orleans coming to the Super Bowl this year. I wasn't that high. I didn't know what Garoppolo would bring off an injury. They're doing old school style here, running the ball. 3 guys at 700 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you got the new age team. They're just airing it out. I think it's gonna be a fun Super Bowl. We got defense versus offense. The lines are trickling up here at pick'ems, 1s, 51s, 52s out of the gate. I don't know. I think I look at the over because as much as they play defense, they still score. I don't know. I think we'll see some points.
We'll give you a good big preview during the week. Higgy.
Yeah.
Got to go. Be right back with Tony T.
Later.
Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. And we're here with you, giving you free picks Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also live throughout the day, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Our 35 handicappers bring you the absolute best in sports betting analysis. So let's join with one of them, our star capper himself, El Comandante Tigre, Tony the Tiger Tellez. Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Getting a little nervous here if you had the Niners because we're seeing a little comeback here by the Packers now, a 14-point game with 8 minutes left.
It's all right. There's not much going to happen there. But, just trying to get the money's worth a little bit. All right, Tony.
Well, if you laid the points, you're worried.
If you laid the points, you're worried. Absolutely. Okay, because it's not about if you win, it's if you cover, right? Who cares if you win? Okay. Unless, of course, it's Liverpool Football Club, and then you better win. All right. Let's start, shall we? We're doing NBA Monday today. We've got some really good NBA games to talk about. We've got the Raptors at the Hawks. The Raptors, 28-14, 24-18 against the spread. They're third in the East currently. They're 6-4, won the last 3 in a row most recently. A win over the Timberwolves. They're 13-7 straight up, 11-9 against the spread on the road. They're 9.5 games, though, off the leaders, the Bucks. And these are the returning, this was last year's champions. They've gone over in 4 of the last 5. And the Hawks, well, they're kind of the other end of the spectrum. They're dead last in the East at 10-33, 19-24 against the spread. They're coming off a loss to the Pistons. They did have a little 2-game winner going on there, Tony, which took them to 4-6 in the last 10. Little light there, and then boom, it went dark again. They're 5-15 straight up, 11-9 against the spread at home. Alex Len doubtful. Total has gone under in 6 of the last 8. Okay, look, the Raptors, 8-point road favorites here, a total of 231. Any surprises here, Tony?
No, I don't think there'll be a surprise here. I'll go ahead and lay the points with Toronto. Toronto has gotten healthy. Their key contributors return to the rotation now with Siakam. We've got Van Fleet back. We've got Marc Gasol, Norman Powell. These were key contributors who were sidelined, but they're back and healthy, and they've won and covered 3 straight after a 10-point win at Minnesota on Saturday. And the Raptors shooting form great right now, 51%, 43% from 3. This is over their past 5 games. And the defense for Atlanta has just been atrocious in that span, allowing 47%. Now, we got some cluster injuries surrounding Trae Young here for the Atlanta Hawks. And, Toronto playing like the healthy Raptors team that started the season pounding bad teams. I think this is going to be one of those outcomes here. I'm going to lay the points here with Toronto.
All right, let's lay the points then. 8 it is. And what about the total? You thinking over or under here, or no thought?
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not sold on the over here because I'm worried about Atlanta's shooting. That's the one thing that bothers me about playing the total here. So I'm going to stay away from it.
All right, fair enough. Let's move along. The Sacramento Kings, the Miami Heat. The Kings dead bottom pretty much. I think 14 out of 15 in the West. They're 15-27, 20-21, and 1 against the spread. They're only 3-7 of the last 10. They lost the last 4 in a row, including a loss to the Jazz. 7-14 straight up. 13-8 against the spread when they're away from home. Look, they just traded Trevor Ariza as part of a package to Portland for Kent Bazemore and Anthony Tolliver. I believe that just went down. So total is over in 4 of the last 5. The Heat, 29-13, 23-17, and 2 against the spread. They're second in the East. I mean, the Heat is good. But they're only 5-5 in the last 10. 2-3 in the last 5. Most recently a loss to the Spurs. They're 18-1 straight up at home. Tony T. I didn't know that. Great record, and they're 13-5-1 against the spread. Justice Winslow is still out, but there's also a lot of word that he's being kind of shepherded and kept aside as part of a big trade deal that we should find out and see what happens. Let's see what the Heat can do to get themselves for a big playoff run here. The total's gone over in 15 of the last 20, and they are 5-point home favorites with a total of 223.5.
Yeah, I'm going to actually take the dog in this one. I'll take Sacramento here at +5. One thing to note here, Miami is on a back-to-back after a loss to San Antonio on Sunday.
Yeah.
Heat, I've been victims of taking the Heat in back-to-back spots, and it's not been good. Heat have failed to cover 4 of 5 in back-to-back games, and this is where you got to be careful here. They have scored 13 fewer points than overall average in back-to-back games, and their defense has not been too sharp. We talked about that 5-5 mark. Past 5 games, 47% shooting they're allowing. Kings, they've played a really tough schedule. They played some tough teams, but they're shooting the ball really well here. Past 5 games, 48%, 36% from 3. They got some of their healthy players back. And the Kings, we've talked about some of the teams they've faced here over their past 4 opponents with the Jazz, Mavericks, and Bucks, and the Jazz have been red hot. So I think the Kings shooting form will keep them close here, catching the Heat on a back-to-back. I'll take Sacramento plus the 5.
Yeah, but I mean, the Heat losing to the Spurs. I mean, the Heat have a great record. I mean, they're 29-13. And yeah, I mean, it's been bad recently. I mean, what happened with that loss to the Spurs?
Yeah, it's just been the defense. I mean, they're not defending like they did earlier in the season, and that's, I think, and of course now you're looking at a back-to-back spot here for Miami, and of course that's where the schedule can get to you, and I think it shapes up well for a Kings team that really has been playing some tough teams, and I think with their team getting healthier, I think it's a good spot for them to cover the 5.
So you're taking the dog to cover, but you're not taking the dog to win.
Not the dog. I could see this coming down to a 1-possession game.
Right, got it.
You see that a lot with these teams. You see that a lot with these home teams in back-to-back spots, just barely getting the win.
Yeah, I thought I misheard you. I thought you were saying take the dog to win. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Not so much, but okay. But yes, 8 points, 5 points seems a little generous. I'm with you. Could come down to 1 bucket on this game. And then so there you go. All right, let's move along, shall we? Indiana Pacers at Utah Jazz. The Pacers 27-15, 22-18-2 against the spread. They're 6-4 on a 4-game winning streak, beating the Timberwolves last outing. They're 10-10 straight up, 11-9 away from home. And the Jazz 29-13, 22-19-1 against the spread. They're 9-1. The Jazz are. Their only loss in the last 10 was to the Pelicans. And they're 16-3 straight up, and 11-8 against the spread at home. The Jazz 6.5-point favorites, which is interesting for me. I mean, I know the Pacers, I think, are coming off back-to-back games here, if I'm not mistaken. So fatigue could definitely play into this. But it does seem a little generous given that, the Pacers actually are a pretty good team.
Yeah, the Pacers are a good team, but the Jazz are in terrific form. But again, the Jazz are in one of the worst spots in the NBA. That's playing back end of back-to-back games, playing 2 games in high elevation. They're at Denver on Sunday night. Then they got to play at Utah on Monday. That's the worst. That's about the worst spot you're going to see in the NBA. And one thing to note here: Utah's healthy. You didn't mention any injuries from the Utah side. There isn't. They're a healthy team. They're coming off a 22-point home win to Sacramento on Saturday, behind 51% shooting, and they were strong on the boards. Look at their past 5 games. They're making 50% of their shots, 37% from 3. Pacers, while they failed to cover 4 of 6 in back-to-back spots, they're averaging only 107 points per game. Utah, in the past 5, they're putting up nearly 122 points. I think the Utah Jazz will get them in the second half. That might be a good second half play with the Jazz as well. I'll lay the points here with Utah.
So are we thinking over then? Because the total's only 217.
Again, in back-to-back spots, I'm always worried about the offensive production from the Pacers here. So you got to get offense from both sides.
Yeah, it makes good sense, Tony. Okay, Oklahoma City, Houston. The Thunder, 24-19, 28-15 against the spread. 6-4 last outing was a 119-106 win over the Blazers. That's 6-4 obviously in the last 10. They're 10-10 straight up, 15-5 against the spread away from home. Abdel Nader and Terrence Ferguson are unlikely to play. The total's gone over in all of the last 5 games for them. And the Rockets, 26-15, 19-22 against the spread. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They've lost the last 3 in a row, including a loss to the Lakers. 14-6 straight up, 10-10 against the spread at home. Austin Rivers is doubtful. The under has happened in 8 of the 11 when they play the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they are home favorites at 6.5 points with a total of 229. How do you see this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the underdog here. Oklahoma City here plus the points. One thing we learned here with this Rockets team, a lot of the smart teams, the good teams, they know how to defend the Rockets. Simply force Russell Westbrook into shooting the ball because he is an inefficient shooter. Houston losing streak 3 straight after a 9-point loss to the Lakers. And man, they were without Anthony Davis in that game, and they gave 48% shooting to LA. But the Rockets' current form just not good right now. Past 5 games, shooting just 43%, 32% from 3. Of course, they've been playing some good teams, and they know how to defend this Rockets team. Just make sure Russell Westbrook has the ball with a 24-second clock going down, and you're going to get a bad shot from Russell. And I think that's what you're going to get. Looking at OKC side, coming off a nice home win against Portland by 13. They too have faced a really tough schedule of late, and you looked at OKC here. They've covered both meetings this season against the Rockets, and they've covered 6 of their past 7 against Houston. See, they know Houston very well. They've got a smart coach. They know how to defend them, make Russell Westbrook shoot. I'll take the underdog, Oklahoma City plus the points.
All right, you got it. Next up, San Antonio at Phoenix. The Spurs, 17-23, 15-24-1 against the spread. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They lost the last 2 in a row, including a 120-121 loss to the Hawks. We mentioned that, I think, a little earlier. They're 6-13 straight up, 9-1 against the spread. That's when we're on the road. Rudy Gay's injured. They've gone total has gone over in 12 of the last 18 games. And the Suns, 18-24, 6-4 in the last 10, won the last 2 in a row, getting a win over the Celtics, which was a bit of a surprise. 9-14 straight up, 10-12-1 against the spread at home. Kay Oubre Jr. and Cameron Johnson will both be out for this game. The under is they've had the under in 5 of the last 7 games, and we've got a 228 total. And the Suns, 4.5 point favorites, kind of a little narrow there.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns favored in this game. And one thing to note here, the Spurs are coming off a back-to-back here. But you know what? This Phoenix is a team I've been tracking this season when DeAndre Ayton and Aaron Baines got back together. Remember, Baines was dealing with that injury. Ayton had that suspension. Now they're back together, and I'm starting to see the chemistry work together. Then you add Devin Booker to the mix. They won 4 of their past 5 after beating the Celtics on Saturday. Over the stretch of their past 5 games, they're shooting the ball well, 47%, and they're defending. You got your 2 rim defenders together in Ayton and Baines back there, so they're allowing just 42% shooting, 32% from 3. Really want nothing to do with the Spurs defensively on the road. They've been a mess, allowing 47% shooting, 38% from 3. They're on a back-to-back here, and the Suns getting a day of rest. Now the Spurs, not a very good road team. They've lost 13 of 19 straight up. I'm going to take the Suns here and lay the points.
I think if you lose to the Hawks, don't you have to do the walk of shame? Like in Game of Thrones?
Yes, anyone has to
where
do
they stripped her naked and she had to walk down and everyone yelled, shame, 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 shame. Isn't that what happens if you lose to the Hawks?
Well, at this point, yes. The way the Hawks are playing right now with Trae Young and not much support around him, yes, that is the walk of shame losing to the
All right.
Hawks. That's bad.
Phoenix Suns, Tony, something tells me you're right. This team is on the ascendancy a bit. They're getting healthy. They're starting to gel chemistry-wise. It's a team that's putting all the pieces together for a nice little playoff run as we get into the second half of the season. Should be interesting to see. And I didn't act too surprised about that win over the Celtics because there is some quality in this team.
Yeah, there's some quality in this team. And, of course, the Celtics had Jaylen Brown injured, and the Celtics have been banged up a little bit. But more importantly, when you got Ayton and Baines, these are two big men who can play. You get play like that, they can rim defend, and that gives you always a chance to win and cover, especially when you're looking at season-long numbers when they weren't together. You're getting some value in the number right now with Phoenix.
All right, Tony Tellez, always an absolute pleasure to have you on. Those are Tony's Monday NBA picks for you. You can find a whole bunch of picks that Tony's got up at picksandparlays.net. And Tony, block your ears. We've got a 15% off code for you. Pick up Tony's Expert Picks today, 15% off. Use promo code TIE, T-I-E, and help yourself to one of our best handicappers picks. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, gather my thoughts, and in case you missed any part of this show, any of the picks we gave out, I'm going to recap them for you right after the break. So if you have a chance to grab a pen or a pencil or, take a picture of the screen if you're watching us on the live video broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or if you're listening to us on the radio while you're driving, please don't write anything down, okay? Just go to our website, picksandparlays.net, or find the podcast online at the Believe, B-L-E-A-V, Podcast Network. It'll be right up there immediately on the conclusion of this show. All right, I'll be right back. Welcome back. Picks and Parlays, Nick Geber with you. We've had a busy show today. We covered college basketball. We covered NFL Super Bowl opening lines with Craig Trapp. We covered Tony Tellez, some NBA games. So now, in case you missed any of it, we're going to recap what you missed because we gave out a lot of picks. We started with college basketball with Sean Higgs. Let's get to it. Here's what Higgy Pop had to say. Texas at West Virginia. Take West Virginia -9 and the over 128. Oklahoma at Baylor, take the over 136. And here is a freebie for you guys. We like to throw these in for you every now and then, just to keep it real. A free NFL pick for you. Florida Panthers at Minnesota Wild. Take the Wild -115. All right. We then did NFL. We did some NFL opening line reports, and then we moved right along to Tony Tellez, Commandante El Tigre, and his NBA picks for Monday. Here we go. Raptors at Hawks. Take Raptors -8. Spurs at Suns. Take the Suns -4.5. Thunder at Rockets. Take the Thunder +7. Pacers at Jazz. Take the Jazz -7. And the Kings at Heat. His NBA pick is the Sacramento Kings +5. There you have it. Again, you can find all of these picks up on our website, picksandparlays.net. We have our expert picks for you. And, of course, we have annual passes for all of our handicappers. If you want to pick one of those up, you should go ahead and do that. But if you just want to pick up a selection of games, maybe as you're feeling the inclination to wager a little on one of your favorite sporting events, we do have the 15% off code, promo code TIE, T-I-E, at picksandparlays.net. Coming up this week, we'll do a lot more college basketball, NBA, plus a lot more Premier League soccer. A whole bunch of it going on this week. So be sure to stay tuned here at Picks and Parlays live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely fabulous evening and day. Remember, bet smart. Bet with the best sporting intelligence you can get from picksandparlays.net. And when you do, you'll just bet, win, and repeat.